Why do I even like to go fishing when it's cold? Why even go? Who's really even out there when it gets this cold? Most people at this time usually just pack up the kayak and put it up into the garage and trade out the paddles for some sort of orange vest and usually pick up a rifle and go deer hunting. This is the hunting season. But I find myself pretty intrigued about being able to figure out the puzzle and being able to more or less try to complete the puzzle that is fall fishing. So when I went out, I specifically tried to fish structures like bridge pylons and any sort of riprap or any sort of cover like laydowns and sunken trees and that sort of thing. Anything that I could find and pitch to. Bass just get into this mood to where they don't want to bite something off of reaction. They want something still. They want something slow. They want something that they can pick up and put in their mouth. I find that this time of year, your shaky heads and your low action baits, the stuff that doesn't really have too much movement whenever you pull it or whenever you lift the bait up off the bottom. This is that time of year to where if you're a slow finesse fisherman, this is your time. Even though that this time of year, you can still power fish. That's not something that's off the table. But the power fishing techniques, I find at this time of year, are more few and far between in your reactionary baits or your slow moving baits, your trick worms. Those tend to shine this time of year, like your jerk baits. And it's just, this is why this time of year is just so special to me. This time of year is when people tend not to want to go out and be on the water. So your waters tend to be less crowded this time of year. And it's nice. It's nice to be able to have the spot to yourself and almost in sort of a selfish sort of manner. Even though I love the camaraderie between fishermen and being able to talk to fishermen and figure out what they fish with, this time of year, you get to yourself. This time of year, you're going to be putting the pieces of the puzzle together. I find that during the summertime when the water's warm, you seem to have more options of what you can actually throw. Whereas when the water gets colder, the fish tend to get a little bit more fickle. So you actually have to use presentations that maybe you weren't necessarily really too keen on actually using. Such as a slow Texas rig, to where all you do is let it sit on the bottom for 10, 15, 20 seconds. And then lift your rod up just to move it a few inches. And then let it sit for another 15, 20 seconds. However long the fish want that bait to be sitting on the bottom. The biggest thing is, where should you fish? You should fish your high percentage spots. You should fish the spots that you wouldn't necessarily overlook. You wouldn't want to fish spots to where you don't have confidence in. You're going to be fishing the spots to where bass have an easy access to deep water and lots of food, because they're looking for the best spots themselves. So, as an angler, you want to look for those best spots. You want to think like a bass and think, where do I actually want to set up? If they're not on a reaction bite, then it takes a long time. But you have to be prepared for that during the winter season. And that's why baits like a shaky head, a straight tail worm, baits like a jig, they work so well this time of year. So that's one of the things that I've really come to love about fall fishing, is the fact that it tests my limits. It tests the fact that I'm not necessarily prepared for this time of year. And it makes it to where I could bring the kitchen sink and throw it at him, and I won't get a bite until I find that one bait. And that's how it was for me this day. It was the one bait. Slow rolled, not moving, dead action. They wanted something to not be moving that they can just key in on. They were looking for realism. They were looking for something to where they could actually eat it, and they thought this was an actual meal. Not something that was reactionary like a jerkbait. It's easy to kind of count yourself out during these times of year. It's easy to just say, you know what, the water isn't right. The temperature isn't right. I'm going to wait till spring. But I almost think that that's almost kind of a missed opportunity in order to catch a bass of a lifetime. Because I've caught some big bass during winter time. I've caught some big bass during late fall. And what it comes down to is whether or not you're willing to brave the elements, whether or not you're willing to get out there during 30-degree weather, whether or not you're willing to be the guy that shows up and nobody else is there. You have to be willing to put yourself in a position to be able to catch those big bass. You have to be willing to overcome the odds and grind out just one fish. There we go. Skunk out. that's winter fishing for you. It's not going to be hot and heavy hook sets every single day. Most of the time, if you're especially new to the lake or new to the area and don't know your high percentage spots and haven't taken the time to research the lake and to figure out where you should probably be fishing, then it's going to seem like the bass went to Florida. They went on vacation. They're not there. But they are. They didn't go anywhere. They're right where they should be. And you have to find them. And you have to grind it out. You have to push your limits. Because that's this time of year, is pushing your limits. It's not about, having an easy day. And some days it's easy. It really is. Some days you'll go out there during the winter time and just slay them with the jerkbait. But the opportunities are fewer and far between during winter time. And that's why it's a challenge. And that's why I love this winter fishing, this fall fishing. Because it's a challenge. It's not you can just go out there and throw a punch bait into any piece of cover to where you can see. And you're going to probably catch a bass more likely in that sort of scenario. But in this scenario, you're going to have to grind it out. You're going to have to test yourself. You're going to have to test your limits. You're going to have to test your skills. But I find that being able to adapt from season to season will make you a better fisherman, will make you understand where these bass actually live on a yearly basis. So, the best thing that I can tell you guys and gals is at this time, don't worry about skunking. Don't worry about not catching fish. What you should worry about is your strategy. What you should worry about is getting your kayak or boat right onto the surface of that water and just go for it. Don't worry about having some sort of picture to post to Instagram. Don't worry about that. Worry about the things that matter during this time. Worry about the challenge. Worry about adapting. Worry about overcoming. I'm Just Nellis. I'll see you out in the water.